Today I fucked up by telling my GF to go right. I finally get to post a fuck up. Happened an hour ago, still afraid for my life. My GF and I were playing Mario Party 7 for the first time ever. Awful game by the way. Anyways, as most of you probably know, you can pick what direction your character travels around the map. The GF, in third place with nearly 100 coins, is making her way around the map. The star was right in front of her at the crossroad. As she approached the crossroad to pick up the star, I sarcastically suggested she go right, which she immediately did. I have never seen anyone so angry in my life, and I've worked both as nightclub security and loss prevention in my time. Nor have I ever been so afraid. She ended the game with 0 stars. I will kill you in your sleep, she stated. The rest of the game was spent in dread. It's now 3 AM and I'm hiding in the bathroom typing this while she makes serial killer noises. Goodbye. TL, Dr. Mario Party 7 is a terrible game. Can you elaborate on what serial killer noises sounds like? Thanks. Obviously the sounds of axes being sharpened and a tiny orchestra playing the song from The Shining. Edit. I was told I had to edit this and say thanks for the silver. So thank you stranger person for my first silver. Are you dead yet? I believe so. I can't believe Op is fucking dead. This calls for some Fs in the chat, boys. I started playing the latest one with my 6-year-old daughter recently, and in a mini game where you guess how many toads go past, she was on the right answer, then I frantically say no, that's wrong. Stand on the other number. She does this, and loses. I get loud wailing tears for the next 30 minutes. Never had I felt so guilty. Yes, Mario Party can be pretty brutal. Teach them early that the world is cruel and unfair. Mario Kart is also great at ruining relationships, friendships and anything you hold dear. Joke's on you, I can do that with just my personality. Today I fucked up by putting a googly eye in my ear 12 years ago and realizing it's still there today. When I was 7, about 12 years ago, me and a few of my buddies here playing pretend as spies on the bus home from school. So spies have the cool invisible speaker in their ears to contact people, and I thought it would be a good idea to use a googly eye that I had lifted from school in the place of this speaker. The googly eye idea worked perfectly for a minute until I had pressed it too far into my ear, and in trying to grab it out I pushed it even further in. I was kind of worried at this point, and decided to ask my big cousin, who was on the bus, if she could get it, but she said you couldn't see it in my ear. I could hear it rattling, and it was very annoying, but being too scared to tell my dad, I stupidly decided to let it be for the time being. After a few days it stopped rattling and I assumed it had fell out, and that was the end of that. Skip forward to this Tuesday. I do kayaking at university and got a big slap on the head with a paddle, and I was submerged underwater. After I emerged and pulled my boat out, I could hear a slight rattle in my ear and I knew instantly what it was. It's now Friday and the rattling happens every time I turn my head, and I still haven't built up the nerve to go to the doctor and confess my unusual prosthesis. Too long didn't read, put googly eye in ear 12 years ago, thought googly fell out shortly after. It didn't. Update. So this got a lot of traction and a good few fellas are posting that they don't believe it, which is fair enough cause I think it's a bit mental as well. However, I'll get a doctor's visit sorted by the end of this week hopefully, and I'll get some photos up onto the sub in an update post. A lot of people are saying about getting my ears checked up yearly, and I can honestly say I don't have yearly checkups or have had an ear exam by an actual doctor. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they're as big a thing in the UK. Thanks for hearing me out. I'm wondering how gross that googly eye must be by now. Go to the doctor and get that sucker out. Put a bead in my ear when I was 10. Removal was very simple, they just spray some water in your ear until it comes out. Doctor said if it was there any longer it could have caused an infection. Worst case, I'd have lost hearing in one ear. Please go to see a doctor. It's not an invasive procedure at all. That's what my doctor told me, too. Then he punctured my eardrum with the water pick. You should probably go to the doctor. I'm sure that wouldn't be the worst situation they've encountered. Yeah, I'm sure people have gotten weird kinky / drug stuff in their ear before, and these are adults we're talking about. Don't live with that annoying rattle in your ear. It might be as simple as the doc inserting some thin tweezers inside and taking it out. The relief you will instantly feel will be amazing. I'll be keeping an eye out for an update to this story after you see the doc. Please include a picture of it. I'll be keeping an eye out. Yeah, please keep it away from any body holes if you can help it. When I was 5, I did something similar. I had taken one of those beads that people thread onto safety pins and had placed it in my ear to hide it. Needless to say, it found its way into my ear canal. I freaked out, told the teacher, went to the nurse and was picked up by my father and taken to his GP. Doctor attempted to remove it with something similar to a hook. Now, I don't really remember if it hurt as much as I thought it did, or if I was just flat out terrified, but I screamed bloody murder when they tried to fish it out. My father tried to hold me down on the table, this was 1981 by the way, to keep me still so the doctor could try to get it out without doing any damage. Whenever my father would tell the story, he would bring up how 5-year-old me was able to push 300+ pound him away from me. The story ends with me going to the ER and being put under so they could remove the bead. I'm 42 now, and this whole scenario is one of those things that comes into my head at night when I'm trying to sleep to remind me of how much of a fucking stupid kid I was. Best of luck, Op. I'm sure methods of foreign objection extraction from the ear have improved as of late. Today I fucked up by buying a used PlayStation 2 on Letgo that caused me to face my worst fear. This happened only minutes ago. The graphics card in my old PS2 decided it wanted to give up on me recently, so I decided to replace it when I had a little extra cash. I was out browsing different sites like Craigslist and the like, when I stumbled upon the PS2 mentioned in the title. It looked like a great deal at the time. $25 to buy it from this guy, whereas a second-hand store in town was selling them for around $45 to $60. At the time, this seemed like a no-brainer. Now, I should preface this by saying that I have a strange faith in the honesty of others. Benefit of the doubt and all that noise. After all, the car I drive now is one I bought from a guy on the internet, and it runs great for something that is 27 years old. Starting to sound like a mistake yet? If the answer is no, then have no fear. That is almost certainly about to change. The model the seller advertised on Letgo was one of the larger black brick models. Like the first generation ones. When I finally met the seller, we had a brief handshake and exchange. When he showed me the goods, it was actually one of the slim and silver PS2s from later in the console's production run. He told me he had already sold the larger one. My first instinct, as many logical Redditors would tell me, is that I should have walked away when I saw I was being sold something that was improperly advertised. Unfortunately for me, and I guess, fortunately for the rest of you reading this, I was not in the most logical mood. It was kind of a shitty drive to a pretty sketchy part of town, and it had already been a long morning. I just wanted to get this thing and go home. Back at the Ole Ranch, I hooked up the console, slapped in Kingdom Hearts 2, and got ready to enjoy the rest of my day. I'm off work and done with class, what else would I do with my evening, right? I was pretty happy with my life until I realized I had been waiting for 5 or so minutes and the disc wasn't reading. Strange, but not altogether discouraging. I slapped in another game that I knew for sure was working. Didn't read. I repeated this several times with discs I knew would work, same story. Now I'm starting to get slightly pissed. I'm sure you can see where this next part is going. I open up the app to message the seller and let him know he had sold me a defective console. Not so much to my surprise, he had blocked me. I've now got no way to contact him. Of course not, he just took me for a fucking ride. All I could do at that point was report him and live in my shame. That, or I could get onto YouTube and try to find a fix for a disk read error. I picked the latter option and went on my merry way. After a video about a quick mod I could make to the system, I was feeling pretty confident that I was going to get the last laugh on this one. Oh golly gee fuck, was I wrong. Now at this point, I begin to tumble from my perch of the high and mighty, and start snowballing right down the tall fucking mountain. I managed to get the appropriate screws out and pry that bad boy open. It's putting up a little more of a fight than I saw in the videos, but why wouldn't it? It was never meant to be opened this way in the first place. With a little elbow grease, it starts to give. I'm also starting to spot a bit of rust in one of the memory card slots. A bit annoying, but the other one was working a few minutes ago, so I can live with that. The further I get it open, the more rust I see on some more critical pieces. I'm sweating again, but holding out hope. Finally, the plastic casing comes free, and I experience the joy of a man that is working with his own two hands to solve a problem. I experience this joy for maybe a second and a half. You see, after prying the top casing off of the console, the bottom half sort of clattered back down onto the desk. The first thing I notice is that the inside is covered in rust. The second thing I notice is that some of the rust is moving. Oh, that's not all rust. Oh son of a bitch, the serifuck mother and cockroaches. Do you know that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where Indiana Jones is like, snakes? Why did it have to be snakes? That was me. Except with cockroaches. They are the one insect that fill me with more disgust than anything else. And now they're crawling on my hands. And these are the quick little tiny ones that don't give two fucks about whether you've stepped on them or not. I threw that whole console on the ground post haste, which only made them more riled up. They're getting everywhere now. I'm yelling for help to my roommates and stomping the ground like a fucking madman in a fit of terrified panic. You would think that something caught fire with the way I was yelling, which is what my roommate said he thought had happened, but no, just cockroaches. Tiny, $25 freaks of nature. Eventually I managed to eradicate most of the insect horde with stomping and shouting alone, at which point I grabbed a can of Raid from the laundry room and finished the job. At least, I hope I finished the job. I'm fairly certain there are at least 2 of those little fuckers still running around under the bed, but at this point I'm a little too emotionally drained to care. I also get the extreme pleasure of wallowing in the fact that I basically just paid $25 to get covered in my least favorite living thing on the planet. Jesus, it's only 3 in the afternoon and I already need a stiff drink. Too long didn't read. I bought a used PS2 online, opened it up to fix it, and got covered in cockroaches. Edit, hi, Reddit. I just wanted to say many thanks for the gold and all the offers for cockroach-free PlayStations. Warms my heart, and I'm super happy you guys enjoyed my writing as well. Happy Redditing. I used to work at Geek Squad and people would bring their PC towers for repair. You wouldn't believe how many times we opened up the towers and they were teeming with roaches, spiders, and other bugs. Laptops were almost as bad. I used gloves to handle the ones covered in mysterious fluids and stains. Man, now you have me paranoid about bugs being in my laptop despite me never seeing one around it. I have a spare slim PS2 sitting in storage for the last 10 years. You're welcome to it if you're comfortable. Ping me your address. Cockroach-free guarantee. Cockroach-free guarantee, beware op. You need to get you some good roach bait traps. Not the cheap shit at Walmart, good bait traps. Because I doubt seriously if you killed them all, and if you didn't you will have a whole new infestation in the coming months. Especially if you are not super good with cleaning after yourself. Oh. And be glad it was roaches instead of bedbugs. It sounds like they're German cockroaches. Oh boy, op, you do not want to get an infestation of these guys. They're small and breed rapidly, so you better start treating your home aggressively before it gets out of hand. Well, think of it this way, you usually have to pay a lot more than $25 for exposure therapy. Oh man, that made me laugh pretty hard. I guess you are right though, haha. I feel you, man. Traded crockpots with a friend and plugged it in on my stove, and no shit, 50 or more baby cockroaches come pouring out behind my stove. I wasn't able to get them all unfortunately, so 3 months later I see the odd one but kill it immediately. I hope to God you got them all, friend. They are super bastards who, like you said, don't give a fuck. Edit, it said 2 months, I meant 3. That made my skin crawl just to read. Sorry that happened to you.